Many of us have, maybe all of us have difficult people in our lives, and they can create a lot of turmoil and stress. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the most important thing that you can do to support yourself, and then a couple questions to ask yourself to continue to give yourself that emotional support. Stacy Rocklein, and I'm on a mission to eradicate loneliness. And the difficult people in our life often leave us feeling the most alone because, one, they don't show up for us. The reason they're difficult is because they don't give us that mental, emotional support that we expect in our close relationships. And two, when we ask them to change or we give them feedback, they are the least likely to change of anyone in our lives. That's kind of what makes them difficult. So what do you do in this situation? The most important thing, in my opinion, is that you accept the reality that you're faced with. A lot of our stress about the situation comes from us wanting to be different, which makes total sense. Like, we have an idea of what a mother's supposed to do, or a father's supposed to do, or a sibling is supposed to do, how a friend is supposed to show up, or a spouse or a child or whatever. We have our own values and our notions of what this relationship is supposed to look like. And it's frustrating and upsetting that it constantly doesn't look like that. And some of that upsetness is because we are not willing to accept what we have. So really, that's the most important thing. You have this person and this is how they are. Just give yourself a break and let go of your expectation for them. And that will immediately get rid of a lot of your stress. Sometimes I like to think of this as like this person has a limitation. So if they were in a wheelchair, for example, I wouldn't yell at them and be like, why won't you get up and walk if they're not able? I wouldn't just keep telling them how frustrated and irritated I am that they can't go every single place I want to go. I wouldn't put us in situations where it would be difficult or impossible for them, or I wouldn't say yes to things that would be beyond my ability to show up with someone who has a limitation. So that perspective can help me with that acceptance piece of this person, whether it's because they're choosing to or they just are incapable, is showing up in a limited way in our relationship. So acceptance is the most important thing. That will save you a lot of stress. Now, you've got to ask yourself a couple questions. The first is, what am I going to do about this relationship? And there is no right way or wrong way. There's just your way. Everybody has different values. One person is just going to say, absolutely no, I'm no contact. That's fine with them. It doesn't matter who it is. Another person is going to have really strong ideas about how family is supposed to show up, and they're not willing to go no contact with, say, a parent or a sibling or a child. And then someone else is going to want to be in the relationship, but needs some boundaries and wants to do it that way. So there's no wrong answer, but you are going to have to decide after you accept how they are and stop expecting them to be different, because they've proven to you by now that they're not going to change their behavior. So better to just assume it's going to be like this forever. Now you have to figure out what to do about it. So that's the first question. And this doesn't have to be a forever decision. You can be like, I'm going to try no contact for a while and see how that goes. I'm going to work with boundaries. I'm going to practice gray rocking, where when I'm with them, I'm just, passive and unresponsive, because that's the safest way to stay out of a bad situation. So after you decide what you're going to do, this is a really, really, really important thing to ask yourself. How can you make yourself the most comfortable in this relationship, whichever decision you've made? What can you do to support yourself? However you've chosen to engage or not engage, you want to give yourself the support that you need. So let's say you go no contact. But you notice when you think about this person or you hear about this person that you have a lot of stuff coming up for you. You get triggered, it's upsetting, then maybe you want to do some healing. Find a therapist or a coach or a course or a resource to help you work through whatever has happened in the past that is causing you to still feel pain today, or whatever other reason or other way you can support yourself. Figure out what you need to be as comfortable as you can, even if it's a no contact. What if you're going to do boundaries? What do you need to make yourself the most comfortable? Maybe you need to learn a little bit more about boundaries. That's totally fine. Maybe you need to figure out how, when you put in a boundary, you can remain calm when you deliver it, or you can care for yourself when you have the boundary hangover of having to do something difficult because they have behaved poorly. What are you going to need to support yourself and make yourself the most comfortable? If you're going to do no change, but you're going to stay in a relationship with this person and just accept them as they are, and you keep showing up and they are so predictable, they'll keep showing up the way they've always shown up. What do you need to care for yourself in that process? In the moment that you're with them, in self-care afterwards, limiting your time with them, setting up the circumstances where you see them, whatever it is. You have to figure out a way to support yourself with these difficult people. You didn't deserve to have this difficult person in your life. You didn't deserve to not have the dream relationship that you think this should be like. But no matter how you choose to engage, it is your responsibility, your opportunity, your privilege to be able to choose how you want to be cared for. First and foremost, accept them as they are. They're not going to change. They have a limitation. You can just get rid of all of the upset feelings that go with your resistance to what's going on. 2, figure out what you want to do. Make a intentional choice about how to engage in this relationship. Because a lot of times we just are on default. And so we just keep going back in, wanting it to be different, expecting it to be different. It's exactly the same. We're upset. It's upsetting. Time passes. We're surely it will never happen like that again. We go back in. Same thing happens. So next is just make a decision. How do you want to engage with this person or not engage with this person? Or go no contact, or whatever you choose. Again, there are no right or wrong answers. It's what's right for you. And then finally, how do you make yourself the most comfortable in the choice you chose, considering their limitation, so that you feel the most at peace with yourself mostly, right? So that you are able to walk away feeling proud of how you behaved and how you felt, and you feel cared for and supported coming from you. You're the source of that, not them, so that you can follow through on whatever decision that you made. It is difficult to have difficult people in our lives, but we do have some agency for what to do. And I encourage you to think about some of the things that I mentioned here so that you can be at ease, at peace, connected with the people where it's worth building with, and making sure you're protected with the people who are not going to show up the way you hope they would. If you know somebody who has a difficult person in their life who needs some new ideas because they are just at a loss, please pass this video to them. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you don't already, and like this video, and I will see you next time.